What was already turning out to be an international circus has now turned into an international crisis. A German news source says the U.S. government is using its PRISM program to spy on EU diplomats. We're joined right now by an elected official from the EU, Rebecca Harms, president of the Green Party in the European Parliament. Rebecca, welcome to Street Smart.
Hello.
Now, you've called for a special committee to investigate these snooping claims and would like to cancel existing agreements between the EU and the U.S. if these accusations are not addressed. What do you need to hear right now from the U.S. government that would make you more comfortable?
So, first of all, I think it's not done with any explanations. So in the European Parliament, we feel the deep need to really investigate what has happened in all these PRISM and Tempora activities. So we have not only the problem with the United States, we have also the problems with Tempora, which has been organized by the UK Secret Service. And my point of view right now is that information from the US side is one first step. What this will not be sufficient to not go for deeper inquiry in the European Parliament.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about what John Kerry, Secretary of State John Kerry, had to say about this earlier. I think we have some sound that we can play. I'd like to get your reaction.
Every country in the world that is engaged in international affairs of national security undertakes lots of activities to protect its national security, and all kinds of information contributes to that.
So what is your reaction to that? I mean, he's essentially saying, look, everyone seems to be doing it, that this is not necessarily anything new. How do you react? So,
okay, so John Kerry probably would say okay in case the Europeans would have bugged the United States Embassy in Brussels. So or what does it mean? Yes, if he's right, I think anyway it's not okay to see the things like that. From my point of view, it matters that a democratic state finds the right balance to protect the privacy of the citizens, and also among states it matters that the United States is not spying against its friends.
Walk us through what's actually at stake here, because there's some upcoming trade negotiations. What could potentially happen if you don't start to hear some of the answers that you'd like to hear?
Hello?
Yes, I was just saying, if you could just walk us through what's actually at stake. I know that there's $4.5 trillion basically, you know, that could be impacted by all of this.
Yeah, so let's not talk about the sums, because it's also very speculative. So I would really propose to talk at first among the Europeans and the United States on what matters for civil rights for our citizens. Obviously, in Europe we have a complete different concept of civil rights when it comes to the privacy of data. And I'm convinced that before we go to the negotiations on the trade agreement, it's really necessary to figure out how data protection in the future shall function based on the ideas of the Europeans.
So how would you like it to function?
So I would like to have an optimum of protection. It's what we tried already to negotiate with the United States when we talked about SWIFT, so the informations on bank accounts and transfers. We talked about our idea of privacy when we talked about the passenger data information, PNR. Again and again, it was clear that the European side has a much higher level of protection than the United States are able to accept. And before we now open this huge negotiation on trade agreement, I would really love to talk about data protection. I'm convinced at first we would need an international agreement on data protection.
Okay, an international agreement on data protection is your request. It's certainly a subject that's going to be talked a lot about in the next few days. Thank you so much, Rebecca Harms.